the Soul Mirror, where raw meets revelation and the soul finally speaks. I am your host, Shreya, and today's guest, Emma Lyons, is not just a trauma informed healer, she is a truth teller and psychic jailbreak artist. Founder of the Trauma Matrix, Emma has helped countless high achieving women finally confront the voice inside that sounds like theirs, but isn't. The voice of shame, of control, and of self erasure. If you have ever found yourself exhausted by perfectionism or confused by emotional manipulation, internally or externally, this conversation might just set you free. So, welcome, Emma. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you so much, Shreya.
And Emma, you say many of us have the internalized or narcissistic system. So, what does that actually mean for someone functioning in everyday life?
Okay, well, what I noticed, because I realized that I was brought up with a covert narcissist, my mother. And when I uncovered this, I started noticing, because I've had a lot of shame all my life. And I realized that I was operating out of shame from a very young age. And I realized that that voice was very similar to the voice of my mother. It was shaming, it was controlling, it was dominant. So this voice is like a voice that says, "You're not good enough. Oh, you can't do that. You'll never succeed at that. You can't be a singer. You can't be a dancer. You have to get a regular job and make normal money." It shames you, when you do simple things, when you drop a pen. I've seen this happening to a lot of women, even women that are very very successful. They drop something and they're like, "Oh, I'm so stupid." They might actually verbalize that. That voice is the inner narcissist that I'm calling out the inner narcissist. A lot of people call it the inner critic, but I feel that it's more than that. It's not just a little voice that wants to keep you safe. It's actually a narcissist that we've internalized and is now living inside our head. And it doesn't have your best interests at heart, just like narcissists on the outside. Even the covert narcissist, it's not trying to protect you. It has that as that's what it looks like. "Oh, I want to keep you safe." It like smacks you and tells you can't do what you want to do. "Oh, I'm doing it for your own good." But really, it's looking after itself. It was looking to soothe its own anxiety. So that's the kind of voice that I'm talking about. And it can be gentle enough. Like I think regular people have that voice that says, "Oh, you're so stupid. You can't do that. You look what you'd said to that person. You look like a fool now." That voice. And I think so many people have that. And it's just so normalized. We've accepted this is the way it is. It's the root cause of anxiety, of so many mental health issues. And nobody is really talking about it the way I am.
Yes, yes. So thank you for sharing your story and thank you for uh, talking about this topic. And also, is it possible to confuse this inner narcissist with our actual intuition?
Well, no, that's the thing. The people I've always been told all my life that, "Oh, you have to analyze this and that." When people or spiritual leaders are asked this question, they always give a very long and windy answer. But what I've noticed is that no, if the voice is shaming, that's not your higher self or whatever you want to call it. Your intuition is not going to shame you and say that you're stupid, you're bad, you're ugly, you did it wrong. It might notice that you made a mistake somewhere, and that's different that you need to remedy, but it never shames you. And that's the real key. Your higher self or your intuition is not going to shame you and make you small like that. But so many of us have an inner critic that does that, and we just think it's normal. And we actually think that it's helping us. We think that, "Oh, if I shame myself more, then I'll be better." We think this voice is trying to help us, but no, it's actually trying to kill us.
Yes, yes. And it's so powerful, like how many of us might be just mistaking control for clarity without even realizing it. And
Yeah, exactly. And control, we think care. People confuse care for control. And I mean, even mothers that are controlling and manipulative, we think they're really caring about us when actually is they're trying to soothe their own anxiety, just like the narcissist. And this is the way we've been taught to parent with shame. everyone uses shame on a daily basis. Like if you even look at the way you act out in the world today, you'll notice that you in your mind you're shaming people, possibly you're shaming yourself, people are shaming you. Shame is everywhere and it's always a tool of domination and manipulation. It's never a tool for expansion and growth, not really.
Yeah, that's so true. And also, you left a promising career in law and human rights to pursue healing. Was there a defining moment where you realized that you had to walk away?
Well, I mean, I just realized that I was making myself do something that really didn't align with who I was. So my whole being was like, oh no, we can't do this. And it was so hard to actually get to that point of finishing the degree. And then I was like, oh my God, no, I absolutely can't. I don't even want this enough. And I can't, even if I can't, I just can't do this to myself. So it was acting out of kind of, my whole body, my whole being was saying no to this. So it was something that had drained me, but that I had done out of a sense of obligation or something.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you understood it and you changed your path and you came to this. And also, how did the shame play a role in keeping you on that path longer than you wanted?
Well, shame has played a huge part in my life. I mean, from a young child, I remember sitting in classroom and every time I opened my mouth and said something, I would like a wash of shame and embarrassment. And it was just a normal thing for me. Um, Feeling shame at home. So shame was kind of my friend. It was my comfort blanket. And I think when we internalize shame to that degree, we kind of use it as a shield, I've realized. We kind of think, oh, I'll just, if I shame myself enough, then nobody else can make me feel worse. So that's what I was doing myself from a very young age. So I was constantly acting out of shame in university. I never thought I'd done well enough and constantly shaming myself that I wasn't good enough. I never went to my graduations because I always felt inadequate. So this is a lifelong thing, and it did keep me in things that that weren't a match for me, like my like the law studying. I just thought that was the thing to do, or that was the next step for me. But it was really, I was really just shaming myself because I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to, and it was just another tool to beat myself up.
Yes, that really resonates that it's wild how success can sometimes be the perfect disguise for inner suppression also.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also let's talk about the outer narcissist. So how can someone tell if they are in a narcissistic dynamic, especially when it is masked as love or as mentorship?
Okay, well, if that person is controlling you, if they're shaming you, again, it's quite likely there is some kind of narcissism, and narcissistic structures are everywhere. So narcissism is kind of we they talk about an epidemic of narcissism, and the reason why is that we have like Donald Trump. There are very overt narcissists that are world leaders at the moment. We kind of revere to the narcissist, so it's very very common, and also because our culture is very shame based, it's it's normal. We have a lot of narcissists growing up with shame, and they develop narcissism, or they have that key. So yeah, look out for if people if people are, so say, in a covert narcissistic situation, which is the hardest one to spot, check out, is the person trying to control you, and are they using shame as a weapon against you? So watch out for that one. Like, how do you feel around them? Do you feel like you have to talk to them when you speak to them, that you're kind of shrinking, or that there's a feeling of expansion? Because often these narcissistic types will kind of drain your energy and make everything about them, rather than about you. So if you're talking to them and talking about your success, they're going to take it and somehow manage to make it about them. And the same if you have had a failure, they won't let you have that either. They'll take it and make it about you, or they'll diminish you and say, oh, it wasn't really that bad, and you shouldn't be. So they'll always take it and make it about them rather than about you. I think that's really really the key. And notice, like, is shame being used against you? Are they manipulating you using shame? And really check in with yourself, how you're feeling after having a conversation or being around them.
Yes, that's beautifully that you have said. And also you just use a term called covert narcissist. So what is actually covert narcissist? Can you just explain that for our listeners?
Well, yeah, covert narcissism, this is what I realized that was happening with my mom, because all my life I was like, why have I internalized all these very negative beliefs? So, I mean, there were times in my life where I was like, was I sexually abused? Why have I internalized all this shame? And when it landed that my mom is likely a covert narcissist, the covert narcissist is also known as a vulnerable narcissist,
Okay.
and it's someone who becomes the center of the tension because they're victim. Oh, I'm so bad on my leg, on my eyes. Oh, I can't do this. And they extract sympathy and attention through that vulnerability. So they're not an obvious type, obvious like grandiose narcissist. But when you look at what's happening underneath the surface, they are extracting energy from other people. They are extracting attention from other people, and they do get narcissistic supply from other people, feeding them with attention, and their needs kind of come first. Their needs, the needs of the covert narcissist, come first in every way. So I'll give you an example of my mother. For example, when I was traveling in Mexico before, my mother would call, like, and things that happened, like I'd lost my wallet or something, and my mother insisted that I call her every day. And she said that if I didn't call her every day, that would mean that I didn't love her. Now, you can understand that calling my mother every day doesn't help me. It doesn't help me be safer in Mexico. What it does do is it makes her feel better because she feels like she's in control. So and it's also, that is also classic emotional manipulation. So they'll use things like triangulation, emotional manipulation in order to get what they want. And they'll say things like, oh, it's for your own good. Oh, you can't do that career because that's a stupid idea. They'll put it down because it makes them uncomfortable or it makes them feel nervous. So it's not about what you want, but they'll try to play it that way. They'll try to tell you that they're doing it for your own good. So it's much more difficult to spot, but it is just as corrosive, if not more so, because you grow up, if you grow up in a with a regular narcissist, with an overt narcissist, you likely realize, or you realize quickly as as an adult what was happening. But with a covert narcissist, you internalize it, which is what I did. I internalized and said, right, I must be the problem. Shame myself, like, why am I like this? Oh, it's my problem. I had a great family. So that's why it can be a lot more, because it's much more difficult to see. It can really affect your self-esteem even more than the overt types.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story and explaining that so beautifully. And also, what is the first step uh, toward regaining the autonomy in such relationships?
Well, the best thing to do is to create distance, and this is the advice about when you're dealing with a narcissist. You've got to ideally, you know, create space with them and disconnect from them, because when you're around them, they're going to be continuously sucking your energy. So the best thing you can do is to break up with them and move away. And it's the same with your inner narcissist. We're taught to sit down and have cucumber sandwiches and take them to therapy and empathize with this inner narcissist, but that's not the common wisdom when you're dealing with a narcissist outside in the world. You get away from them as much as you can. And it's not always possible, it's not always easy, but the ideal situation is you go no contact with a narcissist, and then you start building yourself up, because otherwise you're just trying to grow a plant, and you're sitting in poison soil. So you're breathing a little bit of poison gas, but you're trying to heal yourself. It's a contradiction. So you want to first of all, if you can, get distance between you and this person, or this, create, and don't let it. In other words, if that's not possible, if that just don't react to it. Don't react. Don't defend yourself. Don't explain. Don't personalize. Just keep it very, very minimal. And with the voice in your head, I found it very, very effective just to say no. Like when the voice of shame comes up, like it did the other day for me, I was running late to something, and my voice was kind of frantically in my head, and I just said, "That's not mine. No, I'm not taking this." And the voice just kind of lost its hold. So you have to kind of agree with the art the with it. You have to let it in order for it to affect you. And I know that's not a bit that's a big ask, but the like every lock needs a key to go into. And the narcissist, even the inner narcissist, it can only affect you if at some level you agree with it and you don't you let it in. So create that distance, build yourself up, build your confidence. And when you notice that you're shaming yourself, recognize that not as the voice of your inner wisdom or anything like that. That's not you. That's inherited shame that's controlling you. That's not trying to help you. That's not trying to offend you. It's actually trying to kill you. It's actually trying to keep you small. It doesn't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, you said that so beautifully, and also I think sometimes it's best to have your inner confidence. Like if you have to deal with this kind of person, like you know that what you have done, and then you can deal with this. I think with this kind of persons.
Yeah, and the more you clear the inner narcissist, the less to free yourself of this inner narcissistic voice, the less any narcissist on the outside can control you. Because for you to feel shame, if I say to you, I hate your orange jumper, right? You know, I hate you're not wearing an orange dress. You're just gonna say, oh, this woman is crazy, right? So in order to feel shame, we have to, or the inner voice has to agree with it and say, yes, you are really stupid. Yes, you are an idiot. And then we feel shame. But without that, nobody else can shame us. And we'll just be like, you're crazy. Yeah, go away. Leave me alone. You know, we're not going to take that in. So this is really the way we take back our power. Most therapy out there, when they talk about this inner critic, it's kind of we're polishing the cage from inside. They're teaching us how to deal with shame, how to deal with it, that we need to sit down and have therapy with their voice. They're not teaching us how to be shame free. And that's the only way we get to a place of real freedom. Shame has been so normalized that the word shameless means people are behaving badly. People are behaving, but they're not. When people are behaving shameless, as it's called, they're not behaving without shame. They're behaving from repressed shame. Like when you say, "Oh, he's so shameless," it means they're out there, you know, taking out, throwing off their underwear or whatever. You know, that's repressed shame. People do that when they are sick with shame, not when they're free of shame. So the word we need to take back this word shameless, because shameless means free of shame, and that's what we want to be. Shame is
Yeah,
not normal. Shame is not natural. Shame is as a construct of civilization, and it only serves people who are trying to control us. So it's always a weapon. It's always weaponized, and it never helps you. Not a little bit, not a little drop. It's not useful. It doesn't keep you humble. There are many other ways of doing this. Shame is toxic. So stop poisoning yourself with that shame. That's really, if people just get that and recognize when they're shaming themselves and say no to it, that is already a power move for them.
yes, that's so beautiful. And also, like some people argue with that term narcissist, that it is now overused today. So, how do you distinguish between labeling and actual healing?
Yeah, well, I mean, we live in a narcissistic world and a narcissistic culture, so we all internalize elements of it. But to have like a clinical narcissist, and most narcissists are never going to go and get diagnosed. So you don't need a diagnosis to recognize that someone is toxic or that someone is kind of sucking your energy. But you may notice they may not be a narcissist, but they may have narcissistic traits, and we can all have narcissistic traits. Like to have an inner narcissist, we have to have internalized some of those traits within ourselves. So yes, I do. I agree. The word narcissist, if anyone is behaving badly or in a way people don't like, they're called a narcissist. And that's not the correct clinical use of the term. But but if you're living with someone who you suspect is a narcissist, you don't need to have that diagnosis to know that they're shaming you, that they're causing you harm, that they're controlling you, that they're hurting you, and they're saying that they're trying to protect you or they're trying to help you. That's you don't need a diagnosis to know this is toxic, and you take back your power. You don't need a label in order to know that this is bad for you and get away. You don't need that label. You don't need to know. And the same with the voice in your head. Doesn't you don't need to I find it very helpful to call it a narcissistic voice because it for me it does check all those every single one of those boxes when people talk about a narcissist, and to recognize that it's not me, but just to recognize that it's not you, that it doesn't have your best interests at heart, that it's trying to dominate and control you 100% of the time. That takes back your power, and you can say no to it, and you can be clear on that, and you don't have to be polite to the narcissist, you don't have to explain yourself to the narcissist, and that really takes back your power, or to this person who is trying to extract something from you or trying to control you or make you feel shame. It's not healthy, and you can say no. So stop fawning, stop trying to be nice to this person, and just be minimal. Keep it gray rock, as they call, like very, very minimal. Yes, no answers. Don't give them any emotional currency. Don't give them the knowledge that they've successfully shamed you, and just keep it very short answers, and keep your power with yourself. Don't give any of your power away to these people.
Yes. Thank you for sharing this with our listeners. And also, you work with women who appear high functioning but feel invisible. So, what is usually going beneath that burnout or that brilliance?
Well, it's the inner narcissist, really. The inner narcissist is what burns people out, because people are operating out of a sense of shame. This is the hustle culture. I got to work harder. It's You'll see if you look underneath that, it's shame based. It's shame fueled. You got to work harder in order to be enough. You got to be doing more. You got to perform in order to be good enough. And underneath that is shame. Shame is the currency and the fuel that kind of keeps Western civilization particularly operating, but it's very, very toxic for us to be operating out of that. And there are other ways to be operating. So when people are burning out, they're operating from shame. They're Because it's toxic fuel that you're trying to burn. It might make things go in the short term, but it burns you out. You're operating from that belief. Oh, there's not enough. I need more money. Oh my God, I'm not good enough. I've got to put out more social media things. I got to do more. I got to hire that person. It's all operating from shame and this inner narcissist that I talk about. And you gotta cut that cord, cut those ties to inner narcissist, and take your power back. And then you start operating from a place of totally different feeling place of expansion and empowerment, and different possibilities open up. We don't need shame to move forward. This is the biggest lie that we're told in our civilization. We need shame. You need to work harder. You need to be good girl. It's all a lie that is taking your power. It's time to take back your power back and do it for you. Do it for what feels good, not for what feels bad or what feels like is the right thing that you've been told that you should do. No.
Yes. This is a wonderful conversation with you, and the things that you have shared with us, that sometimes it's the outside people, some narcissist who breaks us into pieces, but we just blame ourselves for this. This is really, really so, so beautiful. And if my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Well, I have a free gift for people. If it's 5 signs that it's time to break up with your inner narcissist. So this is a free tool that has 5 signs that it's really time to make that break. So it's at tinyurl.com/not today narc. That's where you'll find it. And you can also reach me everywhere. I'm trauma.matrix on social media.
Yes, and I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you and listen more from you, because you just shared so much of knowledge, experience, and stories with us today. And this, I think, this was not just a conversation. It is an excel also. And to my listeners, Emma reminds us that freedom isn't about breaking chains, but about recognizing who is holding them. And sometimes it's a version of ourselves that we didn't know we are still listening. So if anything stirred within you today, pause, listen, and ask, whose voice is really driving my choices? Until next time on the Soul Mirror, keep reflecting and keep reclaiming.